Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for coming on time. We're going to get started immediately. But before we start, I'd like us to take a moment and introduce ourselves. What's your name? What do you do? And how can you be found? So you can put in your link, your website link, or your LinkedIn link, or your Instagram handle. Feel free to connect with other people. Maybe you can partner with someone right now, or rather after the event. So great. We're going to get started. I have two screens right here. So it's going to seem as if I'm looking out somewhere. Okay. Hey, Rochelle. Great. So feel free to connect with Rochelle, everyone. Feel free to follow her. Feel free to connect and collaborate on something. And so we're going to get started. Hey, everyone. My name is Onyinye. You can call me Onyinye. And I help entrepreneurs plan and promote their events with less stress. I've helped over 50 international clients. And I'm actually a project manager, but I focus on events. So in this webinar today, these are all of the things that we're going to learn. We're going to learn how to craft an attractive title for your event. We're going to learn how you can create your webinar sales funnel, right? And then we're going to learn the perfect virtual event platform for your particular type of business, okay? And we're going to also learn how to optimize your their registration processes, and how you can create a digital marketing plan for your event. So I created this webinar because, as I said, I've worked with over 50 business owners as their freelance events manager or event assistant. And I realized that it's not easy to be the CEO and the CMO, right? It's not easy to juggle between having your business and also marketing your business to different people. So most people do not have the time to do all of these things. Most people actually know what to do, but because they don't have the time, right? But some other people do know what to do, but just don't have the time. Some others don't know what to do. And then I've found out from all these clients that this is a very easy way of having your making sales, right? This is a very easy way of making sales. So let us begin. Now, I would like you to please use the chat. I really, really like for this to be very, very interactive. Hey, Danelle, everyone. Okay. Thank you so much, Danelle. So please feel free to put in a link to your business, say your website or your LinkedIn profile in the chat. And one thing I've learned over time is that collaborating can help you, right? You can learn one or two from some other person, and you can also tap into their audience. So can we take a moment to put in the chat one of your best and one of your worst virtual events, right? One of your best and one of your worst virtual events. For me, I would say one of my worst virtual events is a virtual event where no one attended. I was assisting a client and no one attended that event, right? She said about 17 people registered, but no one attended. And trust me, it was very, very heartbreaking. But one thing is being able to work with what you have, right? Having your event is one thing, but getting people to come into that event is something that is not easy. So, and one other best events that I've attended is one where it was so interesting that that particular client was talking about taxes and all. So you can imagine how 90% of the people who registered for that particular event stayed up to the end, right? 90% stayed up to the end. And so it's usually difficult because most people don't stay up to the end, right? It gets to some point that people become either they become bored or they become distracted. So getting people up to the end of your event is you need some accolades for doing that. So you can put in the chat what's your best event so far has been and what's your last worst event so far. Can we make this a little bit livelier? I've been to an event and no one showed up, right? And oh, you've not hosted an event before. Interesting. So I've been to this event and I told the clients that you need to like put more efforts into marketing that event, not just posting it, but marketing that event. And she said, oh, well, I have 16K followers. And I was like, wow, that's interesting. And at the end of the day, I think it was a paid event. 5 people registered. And you can imagine how someone who has about 16K followers on Facebook would have 5 people register for their events. And one thing you want to understand is that your followers, yeah, they're interesting, they're wonderful, but not all of them are there for the message you have to deliver. Some of them are just there because they like your face or they like that you're sarcastic or you're funny or you have blue eyes and all of that. So you need to put more effort in marketing. Simona said, I generally remember that the best events are those when you don't even realize time passing. Yeah. And when you really learn a lot, exactly, value. The worst was one whose actual content didn't keep the promise that was in the title. Very wonderful. We are going to talk about creating attractive title, right? Yeah. Yeah. So it's very heartbreaking that you spend 1 hour of your time, right, in someone's event, and it's as if it's all salesy, right? It's all salesy, and they actually don't teach you anything. They say a lot of words, a lot of big words, but they don't teach you nothing. So most times it's very heartbreaking and you angrily go out of that event. And most times the next event that person is going to call for, you never go to that event. So delivering value is very important in your event. And, being engaging is also very important in your event. So we're going to go on to the next slide. Why virtual events? Why virtual events? You have to, if you feel free to screenshot this particular slide, because you would have to have it in mind when you want to have your own events, right? You want to have it in mind when you want to have your event. And this is because, yes, you want to have your event because you want to bring people who are interested in what you're doing. You want to have your events because you want to bring, yes, but then they all need to have these roots, right? You're either having your events for brand awareness. You're either having your events maybe to get feedback, right? Or you want to make sales, either a low ticket sale or a lead, you want to get leads, right? Knowing these goals or having these goals will help you in deciding what platform, what your agenda is going to look like, who you're going to target, and the title of your event, right? So it's very important that you have something, you have this in mind, right? So screenshots, and we're going to come back to it at some point. So examples of virtual events. So remember when we talked about goals, right? Remember when we talked about goals and we had events that people actually have these events because they just want to get people to know about them. You don't really want to sell. You probably have a product or a service, or you're not ready with that, but you just want to test the market, right? You want to know if people are interested in what you're doing. So that is the brand awareness type of events. And some of the brand awareness types of events are virtual summits or virtual conferences, right? Conferences are the bigger versions of summits, where you see people have panelists and they invite people to come speak, or you're just teaching people, or even live streams can be brand awareness events. Live streams are not sales events. You will not sell your product or your service through live streams, but you can make people see you as an authority in that particular field that you're in, right? With live streams. So you want to be careful as to what you're doing. Product launches, of course, from the sound, of course, you know that you're launching a product. So you want people to maybe join your free trial or free version or something like that. So at that point, it's salesy right from the start. And some people don't like joining that kind of event because it seems like we're all here to buy your products. And I'm not sure I want to commit to that right now. So virtual networking is also a very interesting type of events that I've joined recently. And it's more like brand awareness, getting feedback from people. And most people who have these events, virtual networking events, want to get feedback. So you gather a lot of people, and at the end of the day, they're just introducing themselves, they're just getting, but then you want to know if these people, are your right clients. You want to know if they're the potential clients, the clients you want to know if these people are going to buy your service at the end of the day, right? So virtual networkings are interesting. Then online trainings are usually paid events, even if it's a low ticket um events, but they are usually paid events. But webinars are made for sales, right? But then people usually abuse it and just sound salesy from the start. But then having your webinar in a way that you actually dish out value such that people will trust you enough to want to talk to you after, right? So they want to kind of get to know you. What is it that you're selling? What product is it? What can that product do? Right. So that is that. So I'm going to put up a poll right now, and I would like you to, I know someone here said she hasn't had an event before, but I would like to know what event you're planning to have, right? I mean, we're just talking about types of events, and I'd like you to let me know what types of, workshops, webinars. Nice, nice. So I would like you to know that workshops are best for clients who already know you, right? They are for attendees who already know you, not people who do not know you before now, right? And okay, someone said product launch. That's nice. So if you're trying to launch a product and you're new, right? You've not done this, no one knows you. Maybe they've seen you once or twice on your social media. It's best to start with brand awareness webinars first, and then you can now do a product launch. So your brand awareness webinar, get a topic, talk to them about it, do not sell anything. And then try as much as possible to get feedback from them. And then the next event you're going to host, they are going to be eager to come to that event. And then they've actually known you for, at least they know what you can do and the fact that you're actually good at what you can, what you say you do. Right. So that's great. And webinars are great, right? So we're going to move on. Thank you so much for that. We're going to move on. Oh yeah. We're going to move on to the next slide, which is webinar marketing. So I'm going to tell you why webinar marketing is really good for you. really good for your event. Webinar marketing is an inexpensive way to engage an interested audience in your product or service online in real time. So on the right-hand side, or my right-hand side, you would see that there are leads everywhere, and then there seems to be a funnel and then money at the end, right? So your webinar is actually that lead, like that nurture. That webinar is where you sell your event, but you don't want to make it too salesy, because if you make it too salesy, people are not going to, want to buy from you, because it seems as if you're tricking them into doing what they are not sure they want to do at the moment. So as people interact with the landing page used to promote the webinar, they become part of that marketing automation. So you want to make sure your landing page is straight to the point. You want to make sure your landing page gets them, because your landing page is like the second thing people see or interact with when they come to, get to know more about what it is you're saying. And that will lead us to sales funnel. You probably have heard of sales funnel. And at the top, you'd see that you're getting people into your funnel through all of these social media posts or direct messaging or your pictures or even word of mouth, right? And the goal at the end is to make sales. So we're going to talk about it in full over here, where it's a little bit more elaborate over here. And at the first layer, right, at the first row, you'd see that your word of mouth, your WhatsApp, your YouTube, your Instagram, your social media is for attraction. Your social media is not for sale. Your social media is for attraction. So you want people to know who you are. You want people to know that you're good at what you do by attracting them with your social media. And the goal is so that they can do one thing, and which is to click a link somewhere, either in the description or in your bio. Click a link that will get you their emails, right? So once you get their emails in a webinar sales funnel, your webinar is your nurture, right? So you're not going to really send them a bunch of emails, to buy your products. You want to send them email to come learn what you have to teach them, right? So when you teach them, when it gets to the webinar, your aim is to make them trust that you're good at what you do. Your aim is to make them, not to make them buy, but to make them love you, to make them feel like this person actually knows their stuff, right? So you nurture them within that 1 hour or 90 minutes. You want to nurture them. You want to make sure, usually the webinar sales funnel, it's 3 steps. Sometimes it's 4 steps, but most times it's 3 steps. And the point is so that you know that with that 1 hour you have, or with the 1 hour 30 minutes, you have 1 hour 30 minutes to make a bunch of strangers trust you. And so that by the end of your presentation, they've trusted you, they've gotten enough value, they've understood that they actually need this value, they need more of that information, and so they want to speak with you after, or they want to buy your products or buy your service, right? So which would equals, loyalty and clients. So we're going to talk about the things you need to put in place for this to happen. And the first thing is the attractive title. Most people fail with their titles because they become too broad, that people, you just gather a whole lot of people. Just imagine if my title was how to attract your ideal clients, right? Someone who knows a lot of, has a lot of experience with email marketing, but it's not really good with social media marketing, would say, oh, I need to learn more about social media marketing. I'm sure this webinar is going to teach me about, because I mean, it's about attracting clients, right? And social media is one of the ways you can attract your clients, right? So people will have different, being broad will just gather a whole lot of people with their different problems. But then when they come to your webinar and find out that you're teaching something else or some other part that they might be interested in, but is not actually a need, right? What's more or less a want for them, you'd realize that they won't be prepared to make sales. They'll just be there to listen to the information because no knowledge is a waste, but they won't be ready to make a commitment during that webinar. And that would be more or less a wasted effort. So writing out your audience pain points is one of the ways you want to create an attractive title. And then the next thing you want to do is to research what people are asking. So you probably have it in mind. Yes, you want to teach people how to attract the ideal client, right? But then you don't know how people are asking these questions. So that's when you want to use Google and YouTube to put in that question. On Google, you can put in a question, or whatever browser you're using, you can put in the question and you see related questions, other questions people are asking. So you want to take note of the keywords, right? What verbs people are using. Are people using the word attract, or are they using the word find, or are they using the word coach, or are they using the word business coach, or are they using the word personal coach? So you want to be specific, because being specific will get you the type of clients you want, right? Because for them, this is a need, right? For them, this is something they need and not just something they want. So they're going to show up. So when you've done this keyword research on Google and also YouTube, you want to summarize them into about 2 or 3 sentences, 2 or 3 options, right? And you want to now incorporate keywords, like the actual keywords, into that message you want to send, right? You want to incorporate the keywords. So how to attract your ideal clients, or is it how to find your ideal clients? Which one is more attractive? Which one are people asking? So you want to put them all in, and then you want to ask a friend for confirmation. If you already have a list, if you already have an engaging social media account, then you might want to put it out there and ask them, what do you want, right? What do you think you're more interested in? And get feedback from them. If not, you would want to ask someone who is close to you which one resonates more with them. So we're going to move on to the time and date. So choosing time and date is very important, especially if you know who your target audience is. We're not here to talk about knowing your target audience and knowing what they think about and what they buy, what they're thinking about. So I have a client, or I had a client who had target audience were moms, right? And moms who had kids with special needs. And for a target audience like that, mornings and evenings might really not be suitable for them to sit down and join you on a Zoom call, because those times they are probably taking care of their children, getting the children ready for school, or they're trying to put the child down or give the child food. And so you'd realize that moms like that will probably be free during the day, right? And then you have to consider, are they working moms? Are they stay-at-home moms? And so if they are working moms, you might want to put it in during their break time. And also choosing your time and date is very important. And I've had clients who have weekly webinars, and they usually, at first, they did their webinars, but it got to a point where they had to experiment within different times. Okay, instead of using 7 p.m. was in the UK, and instead of using 6 p.m. UK time at that point, he started using 7 p.m. just to gauge the audience, right? And then after 7 p.m., he started using, instead of Tuesdays, started using Wednesdays, just to know which is best to gather more people to his event. So most times you want to experiment. So the next slide is going to talk about the right virtual platform for you. And I usually recommend Zoom, especially if you're starting. And then over time, you can move on to other webinar platforms. You can go on to StreamYard. But if the goal of your event is brand awareness, right? Then StreamYard is probably what you want to start with. You want to do live streams. You will just want to talk to people. You just want to share your information. But if you want some sort of interaction with people, then Zoom might seem better, right? And these are the things you want to consider before you choose the best platform for you. If your size, I mean, if you're starting out, of course, your size, you're not yet sure of what your size is. So you want to go with Zoom because it's more interactive than the others. The other ones might not really work for someone who's starting out, right? If you want interaction, as I said, that's mode of information dispensation, then you want to go with Zoom and not the other ones. Then the level of privacy. I've had clients whose topics are a little bit sensitive. And if you know your topics are a little bit sensitive and you just want to dish out what you have, right? Then we can now talk about other webinar platforms. Of course, you don't want to stream to social media because of trolls and but then you still want an enclosed space. In that case, people like doing StreamYard, and then you stream to a closed group, right? A private group and things like that. Or you can use Zoom webinar, or you can still manipulate your Zoom meeting so that people don't speak, like people don't put on their microphones. And those are the things you want to take note of when choosing your webinar platform. So optimizing your webinar registration process is very important. It is absolutely wrong to put your landing page in your homepage where you have other information there. Your landing page is just supposed to have the information that's about your events, and it should have only one call to action, which is to sign up.
¿Dijiste algo? ¿Me dijiste algo?
Yeah, someone unmuted. So at that
Espérame,
point,
es que estoy tomando una plática en línea. ¿Qué pasó?
interesting. Okay, I'm going to make it impossible for you to unmute. So okay, great. So sorry for that. As I was saying, your landing page should only be one information, right? You should only get people to register for your event, sign up for your event, learn more about your event, and even your social media handles and links to your social media pages should not be on your landing page because it gets distracting, right? And if you have a lot of impressions and few clicks to register for your event, there's one of two things is probably wrong. Is either your message is not clear enough or enticing enough for them, or the wrong audience is arriving at your landing page. So you either tweak the message and see what it is, or change the target audience, like tweak the message you're putting out for others to or change the target audience that you're promoting to. So finally, your call to action should be short and simple. Of course, like sign up now and all of that. So the next thing is that you want to promote your event. Promoting your event is very important. Posting is different from marketing, right? So even though you probably have a social media plan, when it comes to marketing your event, you should have another plan, another social media schedule, right? All part of your marketing plan, even for your emails, even for your social media. And always remember that right now, a certain percentage of your total followers actually view what it is you post, or so it means that you want to be strategic when you're trying to post, make posts on, make announcements on social media or even on your emails. So it said that there's 3 to 5% conversion rates for digital marketing. So there's every possibility that 5% of the people who register for your events will show up. There's every possibility that 5% of people who show up, or people who show up, 3 to 5% of people who show up will, buy what you have to sell. So you want to put that in perspective. How many clients do you think you want to take up during that event? That would help you know the level of promotion and marketing that you're going to invest in. So you want to consider two active promotion methods, that's your social media and even your email marketing. So these things are what you would need in creating that digital marketing plan. So you would need your landing page. Personally, I for this event, I use Eventbrite. So the most important thing is that you have a page that is solely dedicated to that event. So if you're starting small and you don't have a lot of budget, then having Eventbrite as your only landing page might, work out well. But then if you want to go ahead and buy a domain name or create a separate page for it on your website, then you can go ahead, as long as, remember, you only have one message that page is going to tell. Then you also want to get your social media templates, your graphics, your flyer and the other carousels and every other thing you're going to post. Your emails and the social media should all be telling one story, which is to invite people to come for your event. Now, you also want to take into consideration the type of people you have on your social media, or different social medias that you have. So if you have your LinkedIn account and you're more active on LinkedIn, you also have your Facebook or your Instagram, and you really don't have a lot of people on your Facebook and Instagram, but then the people on your LinkedIn are not your audience, because they're just not your audience. So do you spend time on your LinkedIn instead of your Facebook? You actually should spend time on your Facebook, because that is where your audience should be. So even though you probably have 3K subscribers on LinkedIn, it would be a waste of effort if you spend all your time and efforts in your LinkedIn marketing instead of in your Facebook marketing. So you also need to put into consideration your marketing phases. Like, if what do you do organic first, or do you start running ads immediately? When should you start running your ads? Should you start in the beginning, or should you start later on? So all of these things are things you want to put into consideration, and most especially monitor your analytics. Like, if you're running your ads, or if you're posting, if you're making posts, what is the impression? And even if people see that post, how many of them engage with that post? Are they interested in that post? That will help you tell you, okay, if people actually if the people on this platform are interested in this type of message, right? Or whether you should put up, invest more effort and energy into the other platform, or whether you should tweak your messaging, right? So we're going to move on to the next slide, which is to deliver a memorable experience. So we've come to the part where we've promoted our events and we've come on to the events, right? Even if you don't make sales, right, there's one other thing that you're going to make as a secondary goal, which is brand awareness. So even if you don't sell in that particular virtual event, once you deliver value, people who come onto your event are going to know that you know what you're saying, right? And so they're going to know that you know what you're saying, and they might prepare their mind for the next time, or just whenever it is they think they need something from something like this, they're going to remember, oh, someone like this is, an expert on this topic. So you want to deliver value, you want to follow up and nurture your leads. So you want to following up really isn't bombarding your attendees with a whole lot of emails. You want to make sure that your attendees, you summarize what it is, even if people don't show up. You want to summarize what it is you taught so that people who don't show up know that they missed a lot and they're going to look forward to the next event that you're going to, call. And most times you just know that as long as you're delivering value, it only gets better. As long as you're delivering value, it only gets better. So I would say if you're starting and if you want to use webinar marketing strategy for your business, at least in the beginning stage, then you want to be as consistent as possible. So you can just have, I have a client who does a monthly webinar and another client who does a monthly virtual networking event, right? So you want to be consistent with what type of virtual event you want to do. So I'm going to show you what a digital marketing plan looks like. And 1 second. I'm going to show you what it looks like. Someone said, how much is paid marketing? So it all depends on what the type of event you're doing and the number of people you want to attract, right? So, but the most important thing in paid marketing is targeting, right? Targeting the actual people that you want to come for that event. So usually paid marketing is between $200 to $500, right? And it depends on targeting, right? But then it's usually between that range. So I'm just going to, okay. Okay, no questions. Thank you. Thank you. All very clear. Thank you very much, Simona. Thank you. Thank you. So feel free to connect with me and we can just have a chat, talk about your business and what's best for it. And I put the link. Yeah. Thank you, Adriana. Thank you. I'm so glad. I'm so glad you said it's all clear. I'd also like for you to give me feedback on the survey form. Okay, guys, thank you so much for staying on to the end. I really appreciate. I'm glad you all stayed. Thank you. Nice chat. Great. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Bye-bye. Good.